Hi, I'm Salt Lake City Mayor Erin Mendenhall, and I have been grappling with the question of what is the Thanksgiving, Christmas, and all the other holidays in between season going to look like for us this year. And as my family's been deciding what we are going to do, we've been guided just recently by the Center for Disease Control quite explicitly asking all Americans to not travel, to stay home, and to celebrate with whoever's in your household. Keep the simple, safe holiday at a small scale this year. And so I've had this chance to ask different community members and leaders the same question. And I'm so happy tonight to have Representative Brian King. He represents the District 28 here in Salt Lake City. He's also the leader of the House Democratic Caucus for the state legislature. Brian, thank you for being with me.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. It's nice to be with you.
Can I call you Brian?
Yes, if I can call you Aaron,
I was just going to ask to reciprocate that.
certainly, certainly.
How are you doing? And what are you planning to do that might be different this holiday season?
Well, um, I'm doing well. I'm trying to stay safe. I have my law practice. I'm sitting in my law office right now, but we have a number of other folks here, but we all have our own offices. So I've encouraged people to stay home if they have any concerns at all. And a number of them do work from home, which is nice. We've got good remote capacity to get done what we need to do, but sometimes people come in. So I'm doing that. I'm doing the legislative stuff and just hanging in there.
So is Thanksgiving just another day of your work week next Thursday?
Well, it's not going to be another day of my work week. I'm going on a road trip, but it ordinarily would be, I guess. I mean, ordinarily, of course, we're all in the same boat in terms of getting together with family and getting together with friends and doing things like that. But I'm working hard to make sure that I limit contact with people. I live alone. I'm divorced. I'm single, so I have no life, and it'll, in that sense, be just another day.
Some people
But
might say you're living the life. I'm just saying.
yeah, no, I mean, I'm living the COVID life. I am, and I have four daughters, three of whom are married, and one of whom is in New York City. She and her husband were talking about coming out, and I just heard from her this afternoon that they're not going to plan on coming because of the spike in COVID cases. She's a nurse actually at New York Presbyterian in Manhattan, and so she's had her experiences with COVID, but fortunately she's been able to stay away in terms of not getting infected. But she and her husband have friends that have recently been diagnosed as positive, and they just said, we're going to hunker down. We're not going to travel out. They were thinking about traveling out, but they've decided not to do that. We'll get together and have some FaceTime or a Zoom chat with each one of the girls and their families, and I think that's pretty much what we're going to do to
Yeah,
celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas this year.
that's our house too. It's such a funky time. And the guidance is sort of ever flowing out with the CDC pretty recently making that explicit direction. Changing plans is happening all over the country right now. Families, individuals, everybody's trying to accommodate just to be safe.
Well, and that's right. And I think that's what's necessary. And there has to be some sacrifices made. And it's one of these things, I mean, it sounds trite, but one of the things that makes you appreciate being able to get together with family and have the kind of traditions that you normally carry out and do the kind of things that we all love to do is the fact that there are times when we can't do that. And this is one of these things that I think will make a lot more meaningful the opportunities that we do have to get together. It's going to be hard and somewhat painful for a lot of people to be alone, especially when they're alone. I mean, it's one thing to be in your home with a spouse or with kids or with siblings or uh, parents or grandparents, things like that. You may be able to do that if you're in the same household now that you were in before under the CDC guidelines. It's not a problem, of course, to get together and stay together. But if you're single, like I am, and if you've got no one that you get together with on a regular basis, it's hard. It's hard, and there's no two ways about it. And so I wish that I could get together and see my daughters, and spend some time with them. But I'm going to stay in close touch otherwise from a remote perspective, and we'll get through this.
Brian, I so appreciate your authenticity and even your vulnerability in talking about the way it is right now. And in my family and our family, we have single people who are feeling lonely, and we so wish on both sides that we could have this respite of a holiday and be together. But I think you're right that it increases our gratitude for when we'll be able to, and even just that we have those relationships in our lives.
Yeah, well, and I'll tell you, I've been so gratified in the last week or 10 days to get the information that we've all gotten about the vaccines coming on the horizon.
Right.
And the reason that's so critically important is we can endure a lot as human beings if we know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We can see now a light, a pretty bright light at the end of the tunnel in terms of some really effective vaccines, at least the prospect of them from more than one vaccine maker. And I don't know whether that means that in 60 or 90 days we're going to be out and have a little more normality to our life, or whether it's going to be more like, 6 or 8 months. But I can live with that a lot more easily than I could even 30 days ago, not knowing when or if we were going to have effective
Yeah.
vaccines. So personally, it makes a big difference to me to know that there are a number of different vaccines that are coming along and that we're going to have uh, the ability to get those vaccinations and really change the quality of our life and change how we deal with this COVID thing sooner rather than later. And we can take some comfort in that. It's going to be a dark winter for us, quite honestly. But by the time January, February, March rolls around, we start having spring, I think things are really going to be looking up.
I agree. It is wonderful news that a vaccine is coming. And even though back in March, if we would have said, you know what, it's going to be 7 months before you get a vaccine, that would have felt like a long time. But after going through what we have in 2020, to hear that even in 6 or 8 months, that's how much longer we need to push through. I know I can. I
Yeah.
know my family can. I know we can as a community because we've already done it. We've done
Yep.
that much so far. Well, I
Right.
wish you well. I wish you a safe road trip, hopefully an isolated road trip.
No, it's gonna be isolated, but that's okay. It's gonna be fun. I need to get away and take a detachment from social media and every other form of contact and just see the world a little bit.
Amen. That is a very healthy holiday new tradition. And I wish you well, and I'm grateful for you taking time to talk to me today. Thank you,
You
Brian.
bet. Thank you, Erin.
And for anybody who's listening, if you need guidance on how to hold your holidays safely, please check out cdc.gov. They have a great website on the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday that I'm sure is going to transition into all the other holidays of this season. Take care, be well. So we are stronger virtually together, and we'll see each other soon.